beginning with bioenvironmental geography, that is question the contradictions, dualism and dichotomy between development and degradation, development versus degradation. Now this is one topic, if we can go to comprehend it in such a manner, it is all about being very interdisciplinary, because it is on one hand talking about ecology, and on the other hand it is talking about economics, and then how is it that both of them go on to complement each other, or how is it that they are against each other. So it is going to be about contradictions, dualism and dichotomy between between development and degradation. This is one of these type of topics where the main focus of the examiner will be on whether a person understands the difference between the concepts of growth and development, between development and degradation, and whether growth leads to degradation or not, or development is part of degradation or not. Is it that in this process there are going to be some dichotomies, that is another part of it, or is it that it is going to be complementary to each other? Now that is what the examiner will try to seek out from your answer. These type of answers cannot be written in a point-wise form. So the one caution, one mistake that the students can go on to make in this type of a question is, and writing this type of an answer is going to be putting it in the form of a stereotype coaching approach. 1 point, 2nd point, 3rd point, 4th point, they pack everything in that and then they go on to take it away. Now the advantage of this topic is that this is a very good topic from the perspective of essay as well, because of course essay is not going to be asked in this manner, but then it can be asked in the form of development versus degradation, and all the developments lead to degradation, something of this sort. That is the interrelationship that we are going to be talking about, that is going to be significant enough in this case to be asked in the form of any essay. And that is what we are beginning with in this section. The USP of any candidate in this type of answer will be, it's a process of having comprehended the question, comprehended the topic, and also the process of making it compact and analytical in one box. That is where what the candidate can go on to do it. I mean, taking everything together and still packing it in the form of one single entity. Development is a multi-dimensional process, a process that encompasses growth, a process that encompasses welfare to the society, a process that encompasses some amount of attitudinal changes that take place in the people, a process that is about institutional and social changes, some of the type of changes that take place in the institution and some of the type of changes that take place in the society, and eradication of deleterious environmental impacts, as well as eradication of absolute poverty. Development does not entail that any environmental damage takes place. Development does not entail that there is an absolute poverty. Now these things are taken into account, and these things are part of rather growth, not development. And growth is one small segment of development. Development is all about enlargement of the choice of the people, and it is a process, and I repeat it, it's a process of becoming happy. So it refers to the process of becoming happy, and it's enlargement of the choice of the people. Having money simply does not mean that there will be any enlargement of the choice of the people. Largely because if money cannot go on to buy a lot of things. In fact, most of the things that makes people happy is not by money. There's only one or two of these aspects that can go on to help them satisfy their ego. And if anyone is sick, they will be happy by satisfying their ego. But generally, ego is what is going to be called as a very negative, it has a very negative connotation. And we, in a more not positive sense forcibly, but anyone has a self-esteem, they are the one who will go on to be the happiest people. It is happy people who are going to be the people who can go on to have their choices enlarged. So viewed from that angle, development includes concern about the protection of the environment as well. That means if you go on to talk about development, then development necessarily entails that one is concerned about the environment is good, the aesthetics of the environment is very, very good, and so on. Now that is that is what it includes, and that is how it is about. Environmental degradation includes lowering of the quality of the environment, and that goes on to include land degradation, soil degradation, climatic aberrations, that is so-called global warming, atmospheric pollution, water and marine pollution, loss of biodiversity, simplification of the ecosystem, biomagnification, whatnot. All of this is part of environmental degradation. Now, think of it. As long as environmental degradation takes place, all the resources that the human beings go on to have or they generate in the form of money, that needs to be diverted for the purpose of managing the damage. Because as you keep on growing, you keep on damaging the environment, and more damages that you're going to do that to the environment, the money that you have earned, that requires to be diverted for the purpose of a management of these type of damages. To manage the damages, an investment of thinking, investment of time, investment of money, everything is required. These investments, unless they are made in time, damages the environment even more. And these investments that are non-remunerative increases further without any type of a commensurate returns. It's like you dirty your environment, you chop off the trees, you're going to convert a river into a sewage, and then what you do is that you keep on cleaning it. It's like eating a bit too much, damaging your health, and then going to the doctor for the purpose of a treatment, and then doing the same thing once again and going to the doctor for the purpose of taking care of these damages. When growth takes place, growth becomes unidimensional. It is unidimensional without any effect on the multidimensional effects of human development. But then growth has its side effects. Growth means only money, earning money, and that is from the perspective of revenue you are secure. That is what is growth. So growth has its side effects, including environmental degradation. Development does not bring about any type of a socio-psychological changes to the people so as to help them take some ameliorative steps and controls and measures. That is, growth has its side effects, and then it has its damages as well. Development does not bring about so much amount of a psychological change, so they have to take some ameliorative controls and measures. That means it is going to be parallel to all the type of growth. Thus, when growth takes place, it necessarily causes some environmental damage, and its side effect. The greater the amount of environmental damage, the greater is the degree of environmental damage, the greater will be the control of environmental degradation through investment alone. We are talking about the more the environmental damage, the greater the degree of environmental damage, the greater will be the control of environmental degradation through investment alone. That means more and more money is being pumped into it. Environmental degradation is not the only impact of the cost of growth. It's a product of a very self-centered approach of the humans towards nature, a very selfish and very valueless attitude and apathetic, insensitive approach towards environment about which they have hardly got any knowledge of. If development takes place, then people's awareness, their affection and concern towards environment also increases, because it's a multidimensional process, and that includes some changes in the way the people go on to think as well. It is growth that takes a toll on the environment, since a byproduct of growth is essentially degradation. So When growth takes place, it necessarily leads to degradation, and it's a byproduct of it. If environmental degradation is somehow ignored, there will be many consequences of it. For example, the cost of treatment of the environment will go on to increase. The technology required for treatment will also become different, and the investment of creating that type of technology has to be innovative, has to be updated, and will also go on to increase. The incidence of diseases and unknown diseases, health elements, the impact on the biotic life will also go on to very, very adverse. We are talking about the incidence of diseases will go on to increase equally, and the present society is a product of it, with not one, with a variety of type of diseases which human beings have never ever known. And mind it, human body is not meant to fall sick. There is still going to be no less than some 24 places in the world where not even a single human being has ever fallen sick, including one in the Gilgit-Hunza region as well of Kashmir. And of course, there are going to be a lot of them in Vietnam and other places as well. Environmental degradation is an exponential growth of degradation. As the degradation continues, on one day, human beings will find that the world is too degraded to live, and that some real desperate measures are required. Exponential growth will cause the next day, will be a doomsday. And if exponential growth is taking place, you will go on to find that one of these days, we'll go on to take some measure tomorrow, and tomorrow will never come. The whole of the world will collapse in that way, and that day. That is where exactly the greatest amount of damage is going to be caused. So, the paradigm of any type of a development must be a control of the environment, and must be a amelioration of the environment. Growth always leads to environmental damages, development does not.
To have more such discussions and analysis, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on our upcoming videos.